Resident Evil 4 is a lot of things. It's a third-person shooter action game and also a survival horror game, and it is an exploration game as much as it is a puzzle game. But there's an element that could have been added to the game, and in fact there are lots of hints that point to this being true. Resident Evil 4 could have had stealth sections. It is clear that Capcom didn't know what to do with this game. They tried making it an over-the-top shoot-em-up, but they soon realized it wasn't 2012 yet. Then tried to make a truthful survival horror follow-up, but tried to make this guy work on a GameCube and ultimately failed. So then they made a combination of both, but for the sake of not being short, they made a 16 hours campaign with some chaotic evil kind of variety. Capcom put so many ideas in this game that on the go, you never really knew what to expect after completing a room. I'll let Super Bunnyhop explain it better.
1 minute it's timed survival in a mini sandbox, then the next it's slow-paced freeform room clearing, then it's ambushes and booby traps out in a dense patch of small houses, then it's long-distance sniping, then it's managing mobs across 2 different elevations. Before you know it, you're battling giant flounders and giant mutant men and riding cable cars between mountains, and it's such good pacing.
Nobody can say they felt Resident Evil 4 was monotonous. And not only because of its varied scenarios, but also for its combat. The game allows players to play in lots of different ways with just the right amount of options. So apart from just going outright guns blazing, you might want to start playing the feint and melee game once bullets start being scarce. You can also try yourself being a sniper, scanning the area ahead every time you enter a new segment, and blowing their heads up with the standard rifle. Semi-automatic is for babies. But what really shakes things up is that the game always forces you to change tactics throughout the entire campaign. But it's never obligatory. You can still try saving ammo with this guy chasing you, but see how that goes. The thing is, maybe, and it's really plausible, Leon was supposed to sneak past through some sections, particularly the first one on each of the 3 locations. My intentions with this video are exposing these hints that point to the game having more stealth elements planned early in development. So let's talk about this part on the village. What are you supposed to do? After what Leon came through, his and every player's natural reaction would be trying going through this path so that all of those ganados couldn't spot you. The fact that the villagers have a back and forth walking path makes it just a little bit more suspicious of a stealth section. You can even enter this house for loot before they ever see you. But soon on your way to the farm, you'll hit a roadblock in the form of this lady. There's no way past her without being spotted. And even if you try and kill her with the knife to stay silent, they'll still hear you. You can also go up right here, but there's not much to do. You're forced into combat. And even if you make a run to the farm, not only the gate will be locked, but Dr. Salvador will be there waiting for you. Now let's take a look at the first castle section. You have these 2 guys patrolling this balcony that will not engage in combat until you trigger them, but as soon as you go up these stairs, you'll start all the catapults. It almost seems as if the catapults were there to punish a player that was spotted early, as you probably would be unable to lift this cannon without alerting everyone. But it makes sense for an escape full of chaos and explosions. Though, ironically, using it actually causes every single enemy to disappear. And then we have the military island, and I think it couldn't be more obvious than this. Before jumping here, you can shoot this spotlight so that Leon avoids being instantly seen. The only punishment you get for not doing this is being welcomed by +2 enemies. So what I think is happening here is that after the decision has been made that the development wasn't going to prioritize stealth, these sections went through their final rework and were designed with the complete lack of awareness of any kind of stealth element previously planned. So the merchant at the other side of the gate in the castle and the +2 enemies at the island are overcompensations of this. But because this was planned so early, enemy AI was already programmed until they made the decision of leaving stealth out. And what's left of that is this uncanny valley of 2 mechanics opposite from one another but dependent on each other. The Ganados have unawareness behavior, really short vision cones, patrol paths, alert reactions, and even an animation unique to their idle state of standing and looking around a bit that triggers before they make a 180 turn. Let's also talk about those three guys up there. One of them screams "Avisad a los demás," which in Spanish means "let's tell everyone else," which should foreshadow a scenario where they'll be waiting for you once you enter. You know, like expecting that you'll be there, because three of them already saw you and supposedly went to tell them. Not only that doesn't happen, but they won't show up anymore in a second playthrough if you loaded it up from a New Game Plus. So I think what that indicates is that they were kind of programmed far more towards the end of the development, once they found out that stealth wasn't going to be an option, to kind of justify that once you enter the pueblo, the village that is there, they would be waiting for you, you know? But because this was programmed so far after, they kind of did it preemptively and didn't translate well with the New Game Plus mechanic, so it doesn't show up anymore. It is evident that Capcom was pretty interested in trying out some stealth mechanics. The radio dialogues were clearly inspired by the codec calls from Metal Gear games, and quite obviously tagged into the game later in development. But there's one thing, one item, that is the single most blatant and indisputable piece of evidence that Resident Evil 4 could have had a stealth option on these three sections and possibly some more. The silencer. Seriously, why would they put a silencer on Wesker's pistol in the Mercenaries mode? I mean, other than, I don't know, making it a bit more special than the rest? My deduction is that they felt sad for not being able to develop these levels for stealthy play and make use for the silencer as a sellable item. And although you only see it on Wesker's inventory, the silencer actually has one of its files on the main campaign. And with Trainer, you can actually equip Leon with it and combine it with the pistol. And it's hard for me to think that that's a coincidence. Maybe you'd think that stealth is better out of the game because of the amount of fun encounters you would be able to skip, the village being the most crucial and important one. But the thing is, the merchant doesn't appear until you find Lewis at the old house, so on your first playthrough you would have to fight them all, making a second playthrough with the silencer that much more interesting and rewarding. Capcom would go on to try stealth on future Resident Evil games. Resident Evil 6 has that section on the Sherry campaign, and I believe Ada has some as well. I think. Revelations 2 has Barry backstabbing some BOWs at a forest, and Resident Evil 7 is perhaps the pinnacle of stealth in the franchise. But imagine how awesome it would have been if they did it first with Resident Evil 4. The thing is, I really think this is a mechanic that could still be patched into the game if someone were to make a mod, but I might be wrong. Actually, after reading this, it went through my head. Clickers. Yeah, I wanted to make this video since I searched for this topic and found nothing about it. Almost every single thing has been said about Resident Evil 4, so I hope you like my theory. I leave a ton of Resident Evil 4 videos from other channels in the description. They're pretty cool if you're looking to get diabetes of info from this game, just like I did. My name is Sebastian, and I'm an Argentine cis-gendered boy, and I'm practicing my video editing, and a bit of my phonetics in English. And what better than doing it while entering the Resident Evil 4 YouTube conversation. I have some more videos planned related to Resident Evil, so if you like me and like Resident Evil games and video games in general, stay tuned to the channel. And see you again soon.